everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. Today is the 1st of June, year 2023, and this is day 40 of the tip of the day. So we had an extremely powerful session with our Facebook Live yesterday. That was on the 31st of May. It was pretty intense conversation, and I think Caesar actually came with all guns blazing kind of thing. But I did have a epiphany after the session. So we were kind of talking about or walking Patricia through, like, not letting her thoughts about the past or the way an event is remembered about the past, not let her pain body feed on those thoughts. So this kind of reminded me about, you almost have to, first, if you look at tip 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It will be on focusing on nothing else but just your presence power of kind of elevating your presence power, whether you use sound meditation, you use Qigong, you use yoga, whatever works for you. I used to use Sacred Acoustics meditation, and now I do Dr. Joe's meditations exclusively. But something that brings you to that presence power, right? Because the ego always, I like the term Abraham Hicks uses. She uses the term flip-flops, right? Our ego will always flip-flop. So what I would say is, so the epiphany that I had, so Louise, Patricia, and I do the medical medium protocol, the Anthony William protocol. And I've done it for 3 years. Louise also almost the same time, and Patricia for the past year or more, right? So one of the main teachings of, or the main learning that you learn from the protocol is you have to learn how to starve the virus and bacteria in your body. The cleansing protocol is about starving all the viruses and bacteria. So to starve the viruses and bacteria, we remove gluten from our food, dairy, eggs, vinegar, soy, corn. Soy and corn, because they are genetically modified, they are already genetically modified, so they feed the bacteria, right? And then vinegar is because vinegar causes dehydration to the organs. It's more about hydration. The protocol is more about hydration. So, I mean, that means that there is no more Chinese food. We don't do MSG. It is what he calls quite a few troublemaker foods, but the main ones, like I would say level 1, 2 would be these, right? Soy, corn, gluten, dairy, and eggs. So that reminded me, we have to do the same starvation. And then, along with that, so viruses, according to Anthony William, or A Spirit of Compassion and Anthony William, viruses feed on heavy metals in our body. So the next thing we do is cleanse heavy metals, right? So we are starving and then taking their food source out. Not feeding them with gluten, dairy, and eggs, and soy and corn, but also we are taking their food source, which is heavy metals, out of our body. So that way we cleanse the viruses out of the body, and we don't fall sick that much. There is no sinus infection or allergies or those normal kinds of upper respiratory illnesses. You will not fall sick. So anyway, that kind of work reminded me, that's what we need to do with our memories of the past as well, is we should make sure we starve our pain body. That's the technique. We need to have enough presence power. I love Eckhart's term, the single most vital step in your journey towards enlightenment, and paraphrasing here, is to disidentify from your mind. So know that a thought is arising. Oh, my mother was so violent towards me, right? The thought is arising, and the thought is just a mental construct. It's just an energy formation that I can choose to drop the thought. That I don't need to keep circulating that thought over and over again, right? And then the thought feeding into, like, we look at that and then feel a resentment, then there's an emotion arising. So bring a certain gap between the emotion that arises, that anger or that resentment that arises for the mother, because they were violent, right? They tortured us with their physical and mental abuse. Instead of that emotion arising, so the feed is the thought feeding the emotion, and now the emotion and thought become a cycle that feeds the pain body. So the other part to starve the pain body is to take your emotion into meditation. Like when you start to feel your pain body, like it's arising and you're feeling that vitriol, that venom, that hatred, that anger, that frustration, then take it into meditation and see if you can dissolve. Just experience the emotion. Where does it feel in the body? Like feel it, that's why inner body meditation is so important, so that we can kind of feel the emotions within our body and dissolve them. And I know when we have Dr. Joe's retreats, a lot of people like scream very loudly, like the meditation is going on and they go, ah, very loudly, right? And I kind of feel some of it is, I don't have any proof of this, but I think some of it is actually the pain body leaving their body, because the energy field is so elevated. That's my intuition, that it is actually their pain body that's leaving their body. But that's my tip for today, is learn to starve your pain body so that it dissolves. So the same technique, right? Same application. So make a choice that no longer am I going to think the thought, and no longer am I going to experience the emotion. And if you have enough presence power, you will know that, okay, this happens, and like somebody uses a scathing voice, and immediately I feel this kind of anger or hatred towards them, right? Because that voice is the voice of my violent mother. When I was 3 years old or 4 years old, she used the same kind of tone and same kind of voice. So that hatred is not because of this present person, but it's because of what we experienced as 3 years old or 4 years old or 5 years old. But tip for today, starve your pain body. Have a stupendous day. Thank you so much. Love y'all. Many blessings. Bye.